I love myself some Abdul Carter. I said several times this offseason and early season that Abdul Carter was my favorite prospect going into the 2024 collegiate season. His intriguing positional switch brought shades of Micah Parsons and an upside that mimics him as well. After the 2024 college football season, his first at edge rusher, he still remains my favorite prospect in the 2025 NFL Draft. Some believe that Carter is the best defender in the upcoming draft. Is this true? Let's find out. Per usual, before I get into my evaluation on Carter as a prospect, here is some background on him. Carter put himself on the college recruiting map while playing at LaSalle College High School. Weird name, right? A team that's normally one of the best in Carter's home state of Pennsylvania. The Explorers is where he would become a 4-star recruit, compositely ranked in the top 300 nationally. Carter took 2 visits, one to South Carolina and another to Penn State. He would commit to the Nittany Lions and immediately make an impact, registering 56 tackles and 6.5 sacks as a freshman linebacker. He became one of the most electric blitzers in the country and got his hands on the 7th most sacks of any linebacker in the country. His sophomore season was a step back statistically, putting forth 49 tackles and 4.5 sacks. Despite that, he had a career high in pass deflections and had 112 pass rush snaps as a linebacker, a significant increase from 85 in 2022. Almost immediately after the conclusion of the 2023 football season, Carter's profile on Penn State's website showed defensive end as his position, and the Nittany Lions officially made him an edge rusher. This decision became a great one as Carter's 2024 Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year campaign saw him register 68 tackles and 12 sacks. It's not like he completely switched positions either. Well, he did, but he still played 90 snaps in the box off the defensive line. Can you see why Carter has been my favorite prospect now? One successful position switch later, and now he's a projected top 5 pick. What traits does he bring to the NFL though? Well, let's talk about that. If this is your first CKJ detailed scouting report, first off, welcome to the channel, but here are the rankings that I will put sections of Carter's game into. Obviously, with edge rushers, the first thing that should be discussed are the pass rushing skills. How explosive do these guys come off the line? How large is their pass rush arsenal, and how quickly can they counter if it doesn't work? Well, when it comes to Carter, there's only one slight issue I have with his pass rushing capabilities, and that section still has good upside. I mean, the guy had 12 sacks in his first season at the edge rusher position, and in his first 2 seasons as a blitzing linebacker, he still registered 11 sacks. Beginning with his first step off the line. This is extremely important for pass rushers to have, and it doesn't have to be flashy and explosive, but it has to be enough to catch the offensive tackle off guard. Carter's first step shows both of these. He is one of the most explosive athletes I've ever evaluated at this position, and he can also start and stop quickly to get inside leverage on offensive tackles. I'll go over this more when I talk about Carter's athletic profile, which is another thing that I really love, but yeah, that's a later thing. But we can tell he's explosive off the line. Afterwards, he must use his pass rush arsenal to gain an advantage on the tackle. And I also love Carter's arsenal. He doesn't have everything, but he also doesn't need everything, and his athleticism is a testament of that. In fact, the only reason why this isn't an A+ in my books is because he doesn't have many physical moves in his arsenal. One of these includes the bull rush, which I want to see more of at the next level. He clearly has the athleticism and will use it to make a good power transition, but he just doesn't use it because he's so athletic. Nonetheless, having a consistent bull rush is a necessity for the next level. So then, the moves that Carter uses best are his cross chop move, his inside spin move, or just straight up winning off the edge using his pure speed. Similarly to the bull rush, I want to see more opportunities for Carter to use some counter moves. The thing is he doesn't have to use them when he wins off of one move. Even when he did use counter moves, he was successful and it likely won't need any improvement for the next level. There are things that do need improvement when it relates to counter moves, but again, that is something that I'll discuss later in the video. One more thing as it relates to pass rush is his pad level. Unlike I discussed in my last video with offensive linemen, this could separate a good prospect from a great prospect, as running in with a high pad level as an edge rusher can make it hard to disengage from blockers. Carter doesn't have an issue with pad level, and he can actually come in with varying pad levels depending on the finesse move. Overall, Carter's pass rush skill set is fantastic, and while he could use more physical moves, the athleticism should be enough. I've already teased his great athleticism, but joke's on you, the athleticism isn't great, it's nearly perfect. And the only reason it isn't is because of a consistency issue I have. First off, his agility is clearly seen in his pass rush arsenal. His start and stop abilities are why I have comped Abdul Carter to Josh Sweat, a guy who has averaged over 8 sacks a season with the Philadelphia Eagles since 2021. Another fun stat about Sweat is that in 2022, he had the 3rd fastest get off of any edge rusher in the entire NFL, faster than guys like Trey Hendrickson and tied with guys like TJ Watt. As I've already mentioned, Carter's get off is elite, and he will be near the top of the list just like Sweat. Anyway, continuing with agility, he does a great job making quick lateral adjustments to get the inside leverage. Outside of the finesse moves, he also does a great job chasing the quarterback and adjusting his angle to attack, and when he mainly played linebacker, he was adequate with mirroring bigger receivers and tight ends on their routes. After that, you have his speed. The biggest contributor to this grade is how good an edge rusher can win the edge using that speed, and that's something that Carter does so well. He combines that first step explosiveness and quick acceleration to consistently win the edge over some top tackles. Now, when he wins that edge, here's where my consistency issue comes in. I could not come around to give Carter's flexibility a perfect grade, and here's why. The best parts of his flexibility are some of the best I've ever seen. He will get down so low and bend so much to win a rep or to make a crazy tackle. Body control is another big thing that transferred over from when he played linebacker, and he has that flexibility to dive and make a tackle. Where the inconsistency comes in is when he wins the edge. His bend around the edge is so erratic that sometimes he will perfectly bend around the edge, and other times he won't even change his direction and he will end up 6 feet behind the quarterback. If he can fix that bend off the edge, he has the upside to be the most athletic edge rusher in the entire league. And no, that's not an exaggeration. You want to know what else isn't an exaggeration? His run defense skills are underwhelming. This is the one thing keeping me away from making Carter the #1 prospect on my entire big board, and that might spoil the end, but stay tuned. This is where I see Carter being closer to another Eagles edge rusher, Bryce Huff. But I kept the Sweat grade because I think the upside is there for him to add some of these traits. Just to point out, some of these traits that I am about to explain also apply to pass rushing, but I thought they better fit in a section like run defense. And that starts with block deconstruction, the most important skill as a run defender. How well can you disengage from blocks when your first move doesn't work? How about when you don't have a chance to make a move because the offensive lineman explodes forward? Here is where Carter struggles immensely. In my eyes, this is his worst trait. He does not do a great job at getting off of blocks in the run game, and most of the reps I saw him win were either driving linemen backwards, which was even scarce in itself, or using his aforementioned great agility to execute through a gap before contact is even possible. This flows well into his best trait as a run defender, which is gap control. While he isn't great at jumping off of blocks and deconstructing those, when he's able to execute through a gap, he covers it so well. Another part of this gap control is controlling the edge, which on outside runs, he's able to cover the inside and force the runner more toward the sideline. Another positive part of Carter's run defense is his diagnostic skills. He does a great job sniffing out where the run is going and does a good job transitioning to a pass rush if a play action or flea flicker happens. With this positivity, the run defending upside is absolutely there for Carter. That's why I have him compared to Sweat and not Huff. But there is still more negativity attached to his run defense. Beginning with his play strength, which yes, applies all over the field, but I put it in the run defense section because he will use it more here. Tying into block deconstruction here, Carter fails to use good play strength to disengage from a block. He really needs to make improvements with his hand fighting capabilities and just overall play strength, which will make it harder for him to jump off blocks at the next level. As I mentioned before, he does have times where he uses good leg drive to push blockers backwards, which is why this trait isn't terrible by any means, it just needs improvement. Finally, Carter's tackling needs some work as well, but some of the work has already been done. In 2023, Carter missed a whopping 16 tackles, a missed tackle rate of 28.1%. Of the 289 FBS linebackers who played at least 400 defensive snaps that year, Carter's MTR ranked 288th, or second to last. Only Troy's Jordan Stringer had a worse MTR. 2024 was better as Carter missed 10 tackles at a MTR of 16.7%, but his tackling technique still needs some tooling so he can stop missing so many tackles. His career knock is 19.1%, and in the NFL that sits around at the 30th percentile of edge rushers. Overall, the potential is there for Carter to improve on his run defense, but from what we've seen so far, it's very underwhelming. Alright, final section and a quick section here as I talk about the vitals of Carter's game. Beginning with measurables, which are above average. He's an inch shorter yet 10 pounds heavier, and given his athletic skill set, weighing more actually benefits him. For that reason, this grade is where it is. As for medicals, he has missed a few games throughout his career due to injury. He recently had a shoulder injury that lingered a bit, but he played at a great level against Notre Dame despite the injury, so I'm not too concerned for his medicals. Alignment versatility is a clear A+. He switched positions, for God's sake. He can rush from the outside, he can rush and blitz from the inside. He's an edge rusher who still spent 90 snaps at linebacker in 2024. That's some impressive stuff. And finally, production isn't quite an A+, but it's still really good. A 12-sack season as a first-year edge rusher is great, but I'm going to reserve the A+ for edge rushers who have 30+ career sacks at the FBS level, or something similar to that. Alright, welcome to the end of the video, but before you go, here's my final grade on Carter as a prospect. First off, his positives are, and his negatives are. Carter's position switch put all eyes on him going into 2024, and he took advantage of that by possibly being the best defender in the country. He has drawn comparisons to Micah Parsons, and honestly, that's not an exaggeration, especially if you're talking about them as prospects. Now we have to wait and see if he will have the same impact at the next level. If he does, he's 100% worth the top 5 pick. And if you ask me, I'm not disagreeing with the consensus opinion. Carter gets an A grade from me, which translates to a first-round pick. Wait, are you not subscribed yet? Well, do it now. I release content like this all the time and would really appreciate your support. I'm Chase Keller from Chase Keller Journalism, and I will see you all next time.